cell phones out and turn them off, and then put them back into your pockets. Although, for most of the cadets, that shouldn't be a problem. Shouldn't have cell phones, right? Okay, I'll give you a minute. Also, emergency exits. If for any reason you didn't get up, we have 2 on the sides, 2 behind you that you came in. This play will be performed without an intermission. Without an intermission. Hi, I'm Mr. Smith. I am the drama teacher here at Army Navy Academy. Come on in. They're clapping. They're clapping for you. This is all for you. Go ahead. Come on in. Have a seat. There's a seat right here. Welcome to one of the biggest projects that we have done all year. This project began in October, and this is our 2nd year doing this in conjunction with New Village Arts Theater, so I'd like to thank them. This project is what we call verbatim theater. There's a longer explanation in your program, but basically what you're going to see are the words of people that were interviewed. In fact, their exact words. There have not been any pauses removed. There's nothing, any ums or little stutters that are in there. Those are still going to be in there. These are trying to capture, come on in. Come on in. Trying to capture the thoughts and feelings of these people as accurately as we possibly can. So we had 2 teaching artists come in from New Village Arts, Blake McCarty and Monique Gaffney, who I'd like to thank as well, who have been fantastic. They work with students in interview techniques, transcribing techniques, monologue techniques, and staging techniques. We also had Coach John Gillespie, who I'd like to thank, who helped facilitate a lot of that. So thank you, Coach, for that. And finally, I would also like to thank all of you for being here to support the cadets. It's a massive process and a massive project when you consider that it started back in October. It still boggles my mind. So thank you all for being here tonight, for biting the bullet.
Collaborative process. Each character you meet is based on a real person.
Real people who appeared in interviews on television or were interviewed personally by members of the staff.
Stories and experiences are repeated, word for word.
No words have been added so they can speak for themselves.
We worked with professional artists to create everything you're going to see.
We chose a topic or theme for tonight's show.
Gun rights and gun violence.
That topic was selected in October.
Week after Las Vegas shooting, 59 people died and 441 were injured.
We began our interviews during the first week of November.
The same week, a gunman entered a church in Sutherland Springs, Texas,
killing 27 people and injuring 20 others.
The reversal process began a week after the recent school shooting in Florida. 17 people were killed and 50 were injured and outside.
This play may present more questions than it does answers.
But we believe the conversation about gun rights and gun violence is necessary, now more than ever. everybody has been directly impacted by gun violence, but I have. And I think it's important for you to hear that point of view.
Harold Gunda, works as a political candidate running for state assembly.
I'm not anti-Second Amendment, although I think the Second Amendment has been perverted over the last 40 years or so. You know, what the founding fathers imagined, I think, is very different from what we have today. But I'm talking to you as someone who's been impacted by someone who has had access to guns. And that's why we're talking.
I'm the executive director of a political organization focused on Second Amendment issues called San Diego County Gun Owners PAC.
Michael Schwartz.
PAC stands for Political Action Committee, or kind of the silent majority. We talk about the real function and importance of the Second Amendment and the right to keep and bear arms.
I believe everyone has a right to personal protection. And I definitely think some people need personal protection. But I think there needs to be some kind of serious background check.
You guys decide you want to rough me up? You guys can take my wallet, you guys are in shape. And God forbid that kids that are built like you want to harm my wife. Like she has no defense, other than the ability to defend her life with a firearm. You know, there's pepper spray and that sort of thing. There's self-defense, like martial arts. But how long do you have to be taking martial arts? How long, what sort of physical condition you have to be in to defend yourself against, you four guys? So when someone's outside their home and they need to defend their life, when the only thing within their life is a firearm, that's what it's extremely valuable.
I don't think citizens need fully automatic rifles or semi-automatic or whatever. You know, to say it's a hunting rifle is bull. You know that. Come on. An assault rifle to kill a deer? You're going to eat more lead than you are deer. But there are plenty of other quote-unquote civilized countries that don't allow guns to the general populace, where the murder rate is significantly lower.
When people come up with statistics, from Great Britain or Australia, they come up with statistics, but these statistics are skewed. They've got predetermined. They want to get rid of guns. They've got irrational fear or bias against guns.
Believe it or not, I actually have a lot of first-hand experience with guns. A lot. I've actually shot like 10 different kinds of guns.
Angela Fuentes, a local actor and artist.
I'm lucky enough to have a family member go to West Point. And she was the only female on the SWAT team in Washington, D.C. She taught me gun safety, how to load guns, and, because I did have a fear of guns prior to the training. And it was great shooting guns. Guns can be completely safe.
I grew up in a military family. I mean, my dad was in artillery, so we were on Fort Sill.
Josh Reed, a veteran of the U.S. Navy and a sales rep for firearms parts and accessories in Orange County.
And so the first gun I saw was a Howden. I mean, you go to sleep at night hearing boom, boom. I mean, we like to talk about PTSD with combat veterans today. And a lot of them can't deal with fireworks. I freaking love it. As for personal firearms, I actually grew up in a house without it. My mom would not allow firearms.
Most gun owners I know, including myself, view firearms from a public safety perspective. Meaning, hey, I'm an adult, there's certain things you need to do when you're an adult. You need to be able to take care of yourself, and you need to be able to defend yourself. So, what's the best way to defend yourself against some sort of lethal attack? A firearm. So, in the same way that when I was an adult, I went out and bought a fire extinguisher, opened up my bank account. I went out and bought a couple of firearms. A pistol, a rifle, a shotgun. I'm not a hunter. I'm not law enforcement. I've never hunted. It's all defense-based.
We thought she hated guns, until I took her shooting recently. And she loves them. I mean, she told me, I've always loved them. But I couldn't have her in the house, it's just me and the kids, like, it wasn't responsible. And you go, oh, holy crap, you're a stud. There's no way I'd do it. I mean, I grew up as a redneck kid in Florida, going out in the woods, drinking, shooting. It was the redneck way. So I had a .357 Magnum that lived at a friend's house.
But if you're going to get a gun, learn how to use it. Learn what to do with it when you have it. And I don't believe there's anything that says you've got to do that, but it's a responsible thing to do.
Shirley Campbell, a retired human resources executive.
But I do believe that, if handled fairly and judiciously, where all people are held equally accountable, the right to bear arms is very important. I just don't think we use that privilege wisely.
Guns aren't bad. They're not good. A hammer isn't bad. A hammer is not good. It's It's what you do with it, the action that makes it matter.
So I got to school probably a little late, Teacher kind of just rolled her eyes as usual. Colin's coming late.
Colin Gall, a gun policy safety advocate.
I think we were, conjugating French verbs, and all of a sudden we heard this out, bang, bang, bang. So the teacher went to the door to see what was going on. After that, she immediately shut the door and said, everybody get underneath your desk, and somebody call 911. I dialed 911, and I said, I think someone's shooting a gun in Norris Hall. And as soon as I got that out, we saw bullets flying through our doors.
There's one thing to have the right to bear arms. It's another thing to have that responsibility. I mean, when you take a look at some of the mass shootings, you got people who have never handled the gun, they've seen the gun, have access to the gun, and go on a shooting spree.
There was only one door to our classroom. And I remember I got shot in the knee. After that, I knew he was in our room. And then he methodically walked up and down the rows and shot me a second time in my left hip, a third time in my right shoulder, and a fourth time in my right hip. It felt like an eternity before the police arrived. And then they began their triage and students lined up the door. I heard red tag, yellow tag, and then I heard black tag, blue tag. And that's when I realized that there were others that didn't make it.
Being African American, I will say that guns impact our community very strongly. I mean, you take a look at the South Side of Chicago. The violence is staggering in regards to the number of guns thrown. The number of deaths due to gun violence is staggering. It impacts us to the point that A, we become very scared. B, the problem becomes more rampant than we could ever think of.
At the end of it all, there were 17 people in my classroom, including my teacher who didn't make it. And I'm one of the 7 people that are still alive today.
The other part that really scares me is that individuals who have the authority to use guns on other people. And I won't make the blanket statement about all police, but I will say that some individuals have abused their sense of power and have killed innocent victims without being held equally accountable. And that impact, it tells you why we have such a division in our country. It explains why some communities have difficulty with peace.
I'm a woman of color. My family are all people of color. And I fear for some of my family members because I think it's different when you're in a situation. I tell them to be careful when they're in a situation with a police officer because I think it's different when you're a minority or a person of color. Especially when boys that are black are getting killed because they look suspicious, right?
I happen to have a son-in-law somewhere, and I worry about them every day because, they can be stopped at any time. Anybody who's, not white, you and I are gonna be fine, but anybody who's not absolutely white is gonna have a problem. That's not the way it should be.
We cannot continue to keep having the same conversation over and over again after another mass shooting, where we look around, express our sympathy, and leave it at that. It is beyond time to address this issue.
What is the whole definition of a mass shooting? I mean, we went from one where it was 4 victims, not including the shooting, to now 3 victims, including the shooting. So now if I go loopy and I'm with my wife and my kid, right? And I go pop, put the third on myself, that's now a mass shooting. So I mean, the FBI went ahead and authorized the change, but all it does is confound the issue. When you look at it, is Las Vegas the same thing as Newtown? Is that the same thing as Fort Hood? I mean, is that the same thing as like a drive-by in Chicago? No. A gun's just a common tool. Somebody could have used a different tool.
Look. Listen. If somebody wants to hurt somebody, they're going to find a way. But why do we make it so easy by making firearms so accessible to anybody? If somebody wants to hurt others, they're going to find a way. But why do we have to make it so easy? Gun control, in essence, is about damage control.
What if instead of a gun, you took a truck loaded with fertilizer into a crack? How many would be killed? What's the impact? We don't know. But it's a useful tool to say, okay, can we substitute one for the other? How does that change the equation? And what's the law? I mean, let's just say, all right, we ban all gun control. Right, how does that change the equation? What's the loss? I mean, we lose the character of America. American character says we have the ability to protect ourselves, our property, and our person. I'm a rabid American. And I'm a stark believer in the Second Amendment and our individuals. The Second Amendment is part and parcel of what I call the American character.
Generally, I feel like the Second Amendment was written a really long time ago. And humanity has developed amazing technology that has outpaced the Second Amendment. When the Second Amendment was created, all they had were muskets that would take a really long time to reload. And current weapon technology has improved so greatly. So, do I think we need reform? Yes, I do. Hardcore.
At the time that our Constitution was created, we were at a very different point in our history and creation of the country. You needed to protect yourself. And guns were the way to do that. But I would have hoped that we would have matured to a more socially conscious time where we would not have the same need.
You know, when something like crazy happens, you try to figure out why and how it happened. It took me about 2 years until I was able to share my story and become a part of the gun violence prevention movement.
You worry about gun violence, workplace violence, school shootings. I mean, you just saw infinitesimal, small amount of people get sick. I mean, your McDonald's down the street is killing you faster than guns. I mean, your household tools, those are killing you faster than firearms.
We cannot let it continue like this. There are too many victims of gun violence in America. It is beyond time to address this issue.
Gun violence is a very loaded term. It is created by people that are more interested in getting rid of guns than violence. Let's say you wanted to get rid of rape violence, or shovel violence, or baseball bat violence. Well, the only solution to that is to get rid of the rake or the shovel or the baseball bat. So I'm very weary of the term gun violence because it was created to produce a predetermined result. And this predetermined result is irrational fear or bias against guns, so they can take away our firearms.
I had a friend. This friend was a friend of my husband. They went to college together. He was one of the first college-educated police officers involved in the police force. So he left the police force because he wanted to spend more time with his family. So 3 weeks later, he was out on the street and some guy tried to shoot his wife. So my friend tried to knock the guy down, and the guy shot him in the head, and left his wife with a 4-year-old and a 6-month-old baby. 2 years later, I had a kid on Christmas Day. It was my second child. And 8 days later, we got a phone call saying that his wife had killed herself, and all from the 2 little girls. So we offered to take him. There I was with a brand new baby, and we took them in and we adopted them. The rest of the story is that 10 years later, the girl who was then 17 killed her son. And then 5 years ago, the other girl, she had developed breast cancer, and she died of breast cancer 5 years ago. So both, the entire family has passed away. And it's just one of those things, guns and gun violence changed my entire life.
We have more guns, which means there are going to be more instances of violence with a gun. But are there more instances of violence? Well, when people drown, they're usually in water. I mean, of course, that's where people drown, in the water. But if you're in a desert, there are very, very few people who drown.
But it becomes a matter of how much is too much. I mean, when we take a look at the individual from Las Vegas, how many guns do you need? Why do you need such high-capacity weapons?
What's the purpose of high-capacity mag versus bump stock? I mean, what's the purpose of the First Amendment? It's your right. It's your right as an American. It's your right to have a firearm.
When you look at instances like Orlando, you know, these people were just out having fun. And I think there was a certain bias against towards who they were as people. And that's where they were targeted. And again, our country is supposed to be the country that's self-governed. You can be anybody you want to. So for someone to take their life because that is horrible, horrible, and tragic. But it's even more tragic that there was nobody in there that showed that they had the ability to, or chose the ability to defend their life. You know, they didn't have the tools, they didn't have the training. One person could have stopped them. So it's tragic that it happened. And it's sad and it's horrible. But step beyond that. It's sad that nobody's able to step up and stop it.
The first 3 shots, I thought it was musical.
Chris Hilton, a survivor of the shooting at Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Florida.
I felt the bass in the body, the floor, against that wall. I felt it. I saw it. I thought it was music. Then glass shattering, the air filled with smoke, the dancing with the gun, the strobe light, everything getting down. I danced to the beat of someone's head.
It was 2 a.m. I was closing out my checks, about to collect my tips. Wanting some to a bartender
It was crazy how loud everything was. Once we realized it was gunshots, we hit the floor and just prayed it to stop. It kept going. It just kept going. After a while, we realized it wasn't going to stop.
Throughout my life, especially when I was young, I had nightmares. Someone's chasing me, and I'm running and hiding.
Angel Santiago, a 32-year-old used car salesman originally from Philadelphia.
I would hide in the closet, and sure enough, was found. That night was just like that, but this time it was real. The first shot started in the main dance floor area, so I ran to the back of the men's restroom, hid over the sink, and waited for it to pass, but it didn't pass.
I remember getting hit in the arm. You know in your class when you fall asleep and you hit your elbow and you hit your funny bone? It felt like someone shot my funny bone. It damn near blew my arm completely off.
He kept going and going, getting closer and closer, and suddenly I realized there's nowhere for me to go. I'm trapped, no way out. I was shot in the foot and in the knee, so I couldn't walk, so I had to drag myself underneath the sink and waited.
Stopped shooting from the end of the block. He went to the next room, and that's when I had to make that choice. Whether I was going to stay and play dead, or get up and get out. There was another club door behind the bar. I don't remember him coming back, but I do remember him getting up. He got up and ran. He didn't tell me to come with him or anything, but I felt that was my moment. I don't know how I was able to get up. One of my arms was immobile, and the other I felt sticking out of it. But I just got up and ran for my life. I don't know who I stepped over to get out, but I got out that emergency door exit and ran for my life.
I was filled with the whole other war zone. Katie Manning, Mother of One. Anyone there injured was laid in the lawns and on the streets. I remember going to the parking lot across the streets with the cops. He told us to take our shirts off and tie to anybody wounds that has been shot. We did that. No stop, anything. We tied it around everybody. Everybody running crazy, screaming and bleeding. I remember wearing sleep, shirt and shoes. I wanted to look behind one of our victims. I remember looking down at them covered in blood.
2:06 a.m. I got a text. I love you, Mom. And I was like, what is this boy doing? I mean, Justice, mother of 8 Justice, a 30-year-old accountant lived in a bathroom unit in close. Then the phone rings. It was him. Call the police! So I'm on my work phone calling the dispatcher. Mom, I'm in the bathroom. Tell them to hurry. So I said, get off the phone, so he won't hear you. So he hung up, and I didn't speak to him again.
We actually got an alert. My dispatcher stated that the Atlanta PD had a bad emergency. Police call, it's signal 43, where they need help. So everybody go.
Omar Delgado, one of the first police officers to arrive at the scene of Pulse.
Prior to the first arrival on the scene, I noticed an OPD officer named so I approached him and said, hey, what do we have? It was maybe seconds later that we heard gunshots.
I remember coming out of that first club and seeing a bunch of police officers with guns pointing at the club. I thought they were going to shoot me because I come out of that like a chicken with his head cut off. They were all just looking pretty much stunned. The kid came out of nowhere and told me I was shot in the back. I didn't even know I was shot in the back. I was just trying to hold my arm up because it was dangling. He took his shirt off and made a tourniquet. Another guy came up, helped, took his shirt off and gave it to me. Asked me questions about my family, everything, trying to keep me conscious. They put me in the back of the cop car. I realized it was becoming hard to breathe. I was the first one admitted to the hospital.
When we first got inside, it was still kind of dark, you know. The disco lights were going. And I just yelling, hey guys, come on out, come on out, come on out. You know, we got you, we got you. And unfortunately, it took a minute to realize that these people weren't faking. They just couldn't get up. There were bodies everywhere. There were people all over the floor.
I remember carrying something to the truck whenever I should have to go to the hospital. It's a regular of mine. Came every 6 days. Bring chicken Sunday every week. I say, you got something, you got something, you got something.
The music was cut off, just the disco lights. There was no sound. Nobody. It was just us talking. Our radio was going and going. There were phones going off everywhere. I remember that the one that really got to me was the iPhone that was next to my feet. It just kept going and going and going. I know it was just another phone, but I could see the caller ID, the picture, and I thought to myself, I know this person's never going to be able to pick up this phone. The blood was pouring out of these pictures. It started making a pool of blood and it just carried away the phone.
I remember finding out later that his name came up as one of the victims. I think of him all the time now because I helped him at night. He was always very nice. He used to win all my lines and it drove me crazy. I would just joke him about it, give him a hard time. But it's those are the things that you don't realize. That's what I think of now when I think of him.
I got down there in 11 minutes, driving like a police officer. Don't know nobody, don't have nobody. It's just me walking up and down the sidewalk. They told me to go home, so I went to his apartment. I walked in and I was like, he's here, I see his shoes.
I think of everyone who has died and who we used to see him every week, but now he's not here. I still have the critical in my cup. You know, next to my computer at work, that was the thing. I don't know why. That was weird that they're no longer here. They're critical still by my little computer. I don't know why. I was the last, you know, maybe last spring.
I wasn't there for more than 10 minutes. Then the FBI called. It's Justice, we have some questions. I said, no you don't. You're going to tell me my son is gone. It's Justice, your son was the sixth person to be identified at the scene of the falls. I said, no, it's not. We got his ID from his back pocket. I'm so sorry. And from that, I don't remember anything else. I couldn't comprehend. He's not here, he's gone. He was my life, he's gone. And I would give anything to have him back.
It was my home. I mean, I was there for 12 years. I worked with some of the people for the entire time. Some have been there for 12 years. I always described it as a feeling of a house burned down. Like the home is no longer here. There are still some people, but it's not the same. And it's feel like your house burned down, you lost everything. It was home for a lot of people.
Two days after the shooting, the hospital held a press conference. I had this fear of being exposed for who I am, people seeing me. But I was like, no. Not only do I owe it to myself, but I owe it to my friends. But now, everyone knows I'm gay. At the same time, I feel empowered.
What's your sign? Taurus. What day were you born? I learned what day she was born. I still know what day she was born.
I was a small arms instructor in the military, so for 4 years I taught people how to shoot guns. And I'm an expert in every small arms that there is.
Larry Bennett, who joined the military in 1968 during the Vietnam War.
When you use guns a lot, you come to the point that you're comfortable with it. You know how dangerous it is, you know the noise it makes, you know the kick it makes. And then I also, do you know what sky marshals are? Well, they ride on planes and they're armed. Well, I actually helped design and train the first sky marshals. This was a long time ago. I'm old. But I thought I could give you a different perspective, because I have a different reflection on guns than a lot of other people do.
Been around guns my whole life, you know.
Brittany Bamford, the executive director of a local arts organization.
My father was a rifle expert in the Marine Corps, so we always had guns around the house. But we never took them out, and we never used them. I've actually never shot a gun myself. But I've held a gun.
And I get the kind of feeling that you feel from holding a gun and the power in the gun.
I think the right to have weapons is a very, very core element of our Constitution. I think it's an important aspect of it. And I think we need to protect that aspect of it. I haven't even shot a gun now in 10 years college. I'm not into it. But I guarantee you I could. It's like riding a bike. Once you learn how to do it, and it means I can use it if I need it to defend myself.
My experience with guns is just when I was in the service.
Dan Linehan, who was drafted into the military in 1968 during the Vietnam War.
I never fired a gun before I went to the service, but I ended up in infantry, so I had to know how to fire all different kinds of weapons. You know, M14, M16, all these different kinds of weapons. After that, I was in someone's house in the country one time with a guy who had a .22 rifle, and he wanted to go out and shoot. So he put a cigarette pack on a tree, and people were taking shots at it, and they said, "Oh, do you want to take a shot?" And me being me, I said, "Okay," and I picked up the rifle, fired one shot, and immediately I said I didn't like it. So I set the gun down, and I never touched it again. So I'm not a fan of guns. I don't have that kind of fear where I feel like I should have a gun. You know, it's just not who I am.
Before I moved here 3 years ago, I had 30 guns, and only because over time I had opportunities to buy guns, and I bought them. I had shotguns and rifles, revolvers and pistols. Because of my background, the guns were locked up in a safe. The ammunition was locked up in a different safe on a different floor. I mean, there's no way you could accidentally use them. You had to be thinking about it, and you had to have a plan in order to use those guns. I believe in protection, but I don't believe in people getting emotionally set and needing to throw a gun.
I think there's a deep fear to
Wendy Reed Croft, a mother, an educator, and a gun violence protection advocate.
So imagine that someone is so afraid to leave their house and go to the grocery store or Target without realizing that also makes me sad. And it makes me wonder, where have we gone wrong in our culture? That there are people walking around that feel like they need a gun everywhere they go. I know that some people feel safe with guns, but the fact is, more guns do not make us safer.
The Constitution says you have the right to own and bear arms. So if you put in rules that stops it, try to create more rules, more laws to control people, create more rules, more laws to control people, you still have to answer things about violence. It's not about violence.
My son Daniel was good at Columbine High School.
Tom Mauser, a spokesperson and board member of the Colorado Ceasefire.
For my family, days after the shooting were like a flash flood. Now the question is, whether the flood waters can be channeled to something meaningful, or whether we fall beyond another flash flood into another unsuspected community.
When I was in high school, I went to school in North Florida, which is an interesting place to go to high school. It's a very big mix of very different kinds of people. But I had 2 incidents when I was in high school. The first was my homecoming day. He was 15. And he and his best friend went to his best friend's house, and they found the family's gun stash. And they took them out, and not realizing that one of the guns was loaded, he shot his friend in the head and killed him. 15 years old. And if you think about it, it's just, it was the kid who died. It was his family's guns right there. So that was it.
My family knows that Daniel is a better person, and we've been greatly comforted by our faith in God and his support of so many. We still feel great emptiness amidst his physical presence. It's difficult for me to be here, but I'm here for the same reason as all the other people. We don't want to see more parents who suffer and stuff.
The other was my very best friend when I was in junior high. He and another friend went out hunting on Thanksgiving, and a woman let her 7-year-old play with her rifle, her hunting rifle, and it was also loaded. And the kid saw something move in the woods and turned and shot at it. And shot my friend Curtis and killed him. And my other friend Joel had to carry him out of the woods. And if you think about it, the 7-year-old had access to this gun and now lives with him, that he actually killed a 17-year-old kid. And I just remember so vividly, we had all gone out that night. And some guys were just joking around, and they were like, hey, did you hear about Curtis? And I was like, no, what are you talking about? And they said, oh, he's dead. I just collapsed, and I was like, it totally shapes your view of the world, and all of a sudden your friend is like this, and it just made me much more aware of the power of guns.
There is a logic to back that. And not selling guns without some kind of a check, I totally agree with background checks. And I also don't agree with over here, where you have a gun, wear it, and walk down the street. But we have to learn to live with it. We can't go changing the law. Every time somebody gets hurt, we can't go and change the law.
The last time I saw my son Dylan was walking on his way to school. He called one word out in the darkness, God. Later that evening at Columbine High School, my son Dylan and his friend Eric killed 13 innocent people, including more than 20 others. Steve Limerick, a former school counselor. The enormity of the tragedy could not be measured by the number of deaths or injuries that took place. There's no way to assess the damage of those who were in the school or who took part in the rescue and cleanup efforts. There's no way to assess the magnitude of the tragedy for those who were in Columbine. And we surely can't, we can't understand why people do such things.
I don't want guns in my home. Because for me, the gun has the power to take away someone's life. And I don't want that responsibility. I mean, maybe I could see having one if I lived by myself somewhere in the woods. I want to protect myself from bears, but I've lived in big cities. I lived in New York, Los Angeles, and I never wanted that.
I actually do not have a problem with someone owning a gun if they're responsible. Keep a locked up in your house, separate from the animals, and it's safe. When children do not know where it is, they do not know the combo, they cannot access it. If someone is responsible, I don't have a problem with that. What I do have a problem is with the stupid people who leave their guns sitting on the nightstand or on the couch, and their 2-year-old finds it and shoots himself, or shoots their sister or brother. And I see that every single day. 9 kids every single day die from unintentional, or they say accidental shooting. But they're not an accident. They're preventable. They're entirely preventable. If they're stupid parents, then you're responsible. And it's a lot of the kids.
Our society tends to look at guns not in a serious way. What you see on TV, that's not how guns work. They're violent weapons, that's what they really are. It's not what you see on TV. No, we can. It's very different to actually kill somebody than it is to watch it in movies.
You must be sacrificed to the entertainment. It's not enough that the good guys win in the end. We're being known by its portrayals of violence. Its entertainment is certainly beyond.
You know, it's very different when you have to look at somebody, fire a gun, and kill somebody. And then you realize that's somebody's brother, son, daughter, and it really makes it very real, you know? It's not what you see on TV. And I've had to do it, and my brother's had to do it as a policeman, and it really changes how you look at things like that. And I've had to do it, and you know, the guy that I had to kill, you know, I can still see his face, you know, 50 years later.
My husband is British, and they don't have guns there. And they actually daydream about moving there, and we talk about moving there, because it's like, wow, it must be so nice not to have to worry about it. And I don't walk around feeling scared all the time. But it's funny because some people will accuse me of, why are you so afraid? And I'm like, actually, I'm not afraid at all. I know what the stats are. I know what Mariska is as a woman. Mariska is greater than all of you as young men and older men too. Women of color are more at risk than white women. So I know what all these risks are. But I have hope because it's anything is better.
We have to do more to ensure that our children are safe from gun violence. Parents living in Japan don't have this awful fear for the safety of their children. Parents in Germany don't. Most girls are beautiful. You may have the freedom to bear arms, but you don't have the freedom to fear.
What Dylan did that day breaks my heart. And every time someone asks, how could you have not known? It feels like a punch in the gut. Yes, he had ongoing depression. Yes, he had extensive amounts of illness per se, but you can't really basing people off of their social status on why they would want to kill someone. We have to understand what was really going on in their lives, and I guess that was my fault. When I was in Vietnam, I was on a mountaintop with a bunch of other guys, middle of nowhere, and one afternoon I was sleeping in, one of those pontoon tents, plastic ones, and one afternoon it's probably 90 degrees, and I'm probably just laying on the ground, pouring sweat, and my friends thought it would be funny to toss a tear gas grenade in the tent while I was sleeping, and I woke up choking, blinded, can't see a thing, and across the helicopter pad were 3 guys standing there laughing at me. And, it was probably the funniest thing they'd ever seen. But I was a little angry, and so my rifle was right there, and jokingly I fired 3 shots in their direction. Obviously trying to miss, but still, it's having something available in a moment of anger. If you have a gun, you can kill somebody, but if you don't, that option is no longer there.
There has been pretty good recently where this has been very impressive and we likelihood of an argument escalating social. That's why you see all these road rage shootings and people like the Walmart parking lot shooting each other because just they lose their minds and they think that they have this power. And it just makes an argument over a parking spot and then someone's dead.
I just relay something on Karen on the fateful day of April 20th. I've never seen been called Annie Kate, your son Daniel, and escaped from school. I went along to school, where many of the remaining children were processed. I remember walking down the school after shooting on that fateful day, seeing so many teary-eyed reunions. Parents went with the children to save teachers. I wanted so desperately to be one of them. Afterwards, I spent time in a crowded gymnasium, specifically for parents whose children were not yet accounted for. We sat with counselors for a while, and we then proceeded word that a file bus was on its way to skip trail. I felt very relieved at that. We waited 15 minutes, 30, 45, realized that no one was coming. So I remained in terrible state. There was no final bus. We're all sitting there in anticipation for a bus. No one was coming. Since then, I've heard many people express their own fears about violence in schools. But I think that they too are in a waiting room now. My time there was horrible. It was less than an hour. I think that they too are in a waiting room now. Waiting for next bus. Waiting for next year.
My wife and I have 2 sons.
David Wheeler, a former actor, now works in illustration in public.
Our older son, Nate, soon to be 10 years old, is a 4th grader. Our younger son, Ben, age 6, was murdered in his 1st grade classroom.
The Sandy Hook shooting really affected me because I was in second speech at the time, and I had a daughter who was in 1st grade. And that was when I got the news. So I knew what the was about. It was almost like I was there with them. And it still makes me cry because I just was so affected by it, having gone through lockdown myself. That was a very hard week for me, and many weeks after. And then Orlando came along, and I was just raving mad, and I was like, why? It doesn't have to be this way. Other countries do not have this problem.
My son's love of fun and excitement at the wonders of life were unmatched. He couldn't wait every morning to get to school. He sang with perfect pitch and had just played at his 3rd piano recital. Ben experienced life at its full tilt until that morning when 20 of our children died of them in the jail.
After Orlando, I joined the San Diego Brady campaign and Mom Demand Action. And that kind of led me on my path to where I am now. Or about a year ago, I became the leader of the San Diego Mom Demand Action. And I just am so passionate about it because they care. They care about people. They care about my kids. They care about kids like you. And I just really feel like it doesn't have to be this way.
I know that in the multiple tragedies that happened, I will live with it for the rest of my life. But in the minds of many, what I lost can't compare to what any of the other families lost. I know that my struggle can't compare to anyone else's struggles. I know that there are some there who hope that I don't get the right to feel pain, though I'm going to live a life of permanent penance. tragic fact is, though, that even the most responsible and vigilant one of us may not be able to save the day and help out someone, but we must never stop trying.
I've heard people say that the tidal wave of English in our country has receded but not crossed. To us, it feels as if it happened just yesterday. Please help us see if there's something for our tragedy of your tragedy.
Let's not forget these same truths. Let's not let their deaths be in vain. Let's stand up, take action, prepare to make sacrifices. In the name of the same truth. Let's not have more flash floods.
Thomas Jefferson once described our inalienable rights as life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I don't think the composition of these foundational words was an accident. I don't think the order of these important words was haphazard or casual. The liberty of any person owning a military self-government or a high-capacity magazine and keep them in their home is second to the right of myself to it. It is life to the right of my person, of our children and our teachers, and of all of us. Let's honor the founding documents and get our priorities straight.
Every single person out there should be home screaming. But instead, you're here, standing together.
Emma Gonzalez, a survivor of the Marjorie Stoneman High School in Parkland, Florida.
Because all our government can do is set thoughts and prayers that it's time for big things to be the change that we need to see.
We had another tragic situation where a young man decided to go and kill some of his friends. Why? Where did we really go backwards in raising our kids?
Sheriff Ozzie Kezovich, after a school shooting at Brigham High School in Spokane, Washington, last week.
You got a mess out there. We created it. We need to figure out how to fix it.
The following people died in the most recent shooting in Parkland. Elisa Alden.
I'm not going to call it. This was not just a mental health issue. You would not have harmed that many students with a knife.
Perhaps we taught them to glorify the wrong things. All this violence they consume has come to pay a major price.
Scott Feigl,
It's time for each and every one of us to say no more to the hate that we see, to the violence that we see.
When adults tell me I have the right to own a gun, all I hear is about how my right to own a gun outweighs your student's right to live.
Martin Duque Anguiano, 14.
All I hear is mine.
We deserve as a society, and quite frankly, our kids deserve much better than we are given them. It's time that we actually teach them some of that old school stuff, to love one another.
Nicholas Warwick, 17.
Us kids seem to be the only one who are willing to call BS.
None of this is going to make any sense, because you can't make sense of the senseless, and this is just senseless violence.
Aaron Feast, 37.
If we're going to have a peaceful society, you need to help us end this violence. It's time for you to wake up. No more of this radicalized hate.
To the companies trying to make caricatures of teenagers these days, we call BS.
Jamie Gutenberg, 14.
And to those in the political world, knock it off. Enough! Both the right and the left, you're both enamored by radicalized hate. It's time for you to cut that off too.
To anyone who says we are all self-involved and trend-obsessed, we call BS.
Chris Hickson, 49.
We, the American people, desire better than what you've given us. And it's time we demand better than what you're giving us.
Politicians telling us nothing could have been done to prevent this, we call BS.
Luke Hoyer, 15.
Politicians who sit in their gilded House and Senate seats funded by the NRA, we call BS.
Quite frankly, this is just another example of the mental health system in this country collapsing around our ears.
Kara Ugarin, 14.
They say tougher gun laws do not decrease gun violence, we call BS.
Don't be blaming the schools for this. You should be blaming yourselves.
Gina Montalto, 14.
They say a good guy with a gun stops a bad guy with a gun we call BS.
Teachers and administrators and everybody is so handcuffed and so hamstrung that they can't deal with the issues that they need to deal with because we have put so many restrictions on their ability to control their classrooms.
Joaquin Oliver, 17.
They say guns are just tools like knives and are as dangerous as cars we call BS.
I can tell you, I carried a gun all my life. I hunted, I shot.
Alina Petty, 14.
When I was in high school, every one of those trucks in the high school parking lot had a gun in the gun rack. Why? We went hunting on the way home.
They say no laws could have prevented the hundreds of senseless tragedies that have occurred we call BS.
Meadow Pollock, 18.
None of those guns ever walked into a school. None of those guns ever shot them.
And us kids don't know what we're talking about. We call BS.
Helena Ramsey, 17.
What's the difference? Did guns change? Or did you as a society change?
Now we're too young to understand how the government works. We call BS.
Alex Schlachter, 14.
I'll give you the odds it was you as a society because you started glorifying cultures of violence.
The people who would hush us into submission so that our message doesn't reach the ears of the nation, we are prepared to call BS.
Carmen Shentra, 16.
You've glorified the gang culture. You've glorified games that actually give you points for killing people. We have a culture that says that's okay.
Our neighbors will not have to go through the same thing.
Peter Wang, 15.
A culture that is enamored with school shootings. A culture where people think they can dress in black and go out and commit all kinds of acts of violence.
If our students have learned anything, it's that if you don't study, you will fail. And in this case, if you actively do nothing, people will keep dying. So it's time to start doing something.
You are to blame for it. You need to start fixing it. Guns didn't change. We changed.
We are going to be the kids you read about in textbooks. Not because we're going to be another statistic about mass shooting in America, but because we are going to be the last mass shooting in America.